there was a psychologist in the 1970s who was working with a set of patients at an addiction clinic. He didn't want to. It was part of what he had to do as part of his schooling. He was scared to do that. He thought, these are terrible liars and thieves, and I don't want any part of this, but I am assigned here, so I've got to do it. And as he worked there, and as he talked with the clients that he was working with, he realized, wait a second, they're not talking about the drug. They're talking about their life experiences and the reason why they're using these drugs. And he said, the more I listened to them, the more I thought, my gosh, if I lived the experiences they're telling me about, I think I would want to change the way that I feel too. I would want to numb those experiences because so many of them had been through really, really traumatic and painful things in their lives. And so he was also teaching at a local university at the time, and he went to his students and he told them what he's learning from his clients. And his students, some of them were interested, and some of them said, no, that's not right. These people are just lying to you because, these experiments have been done with rats. And if you put a rat in a cage and you give it access to drug-laced water, it will just use the drug-laced water over and over and over again until it dies. It's because these drugs are so powerful. That's why people become addicted to them. And so he went and looked into those experiments, and he said, well, wait a second. This goes against everything we know about rats. We know that rats are highly social creatures. We know they love to play and they love to be active and doing things. And in this experiment, they're being put in this tiny little cage with no one else and nothing to do other than choose from these two water bottles, a plain water and a drug-laced water. And he thought, yeah, that's kind of like hell for rats to be in that kind of an environment. So I wonder what would happen if we gave the rats the environment they really want to be in and also gave them access to the drug-laced water. So he and his colleagues built what they ended up calling Rat Park on the floor of their lab at the university. And they put sawdust in there and tin cans for the rats to play in. And they put lots of rats in there so they could have everything a rat would want in its life. And they gave them access to plain water and drug-laced water. And what they found is that the rats almost never chose the drug-laced water. And when they did choose it, they never used it compulsively, never overdosed and died on it. It was just maybe the equivalent of recreational use every now and then for the rat. And so, he began to rethink this narrative that we have had, that it is the drug that causes the addiction, and really started to look behind the drug use to what is it going on in the person's life. Similarly to if you put a rat in a cage that is terrible for them, yes, they want to change the way that they feel. And when humans have experiences that are terrible for them, they want to change the way that they feel. Yeah. And so we know now, over the last 50 years, there's been a lot of research done. We know now that the more trauma someone has experienced, the more loneliness, isolation, all of these difficult experiences, the more of that a person has, the more at risk they are of drug use and of that use becoming an addiction. It's not about somebody being a bad person or having no moral compass or anything like that. This is about people wanting to feel better than they do right now. Sometimes that becomes habitual and problematic. Sometimes it ends up causing more pain in their life, but it's always in service of, at least for a little while, feeling better, getting some relief from that internal pain that they're feeling. And that really was the thing that broke my heart about the way that we have largely approached drug use, as seeing it as a bad person, which is why we employ the criminal justice system. We have someone doing bad things, and we need to punish them for the bad behavior that they're engaging in. And so that really reshaped my heart and got me rethinking how we approach substance use. And that opened up more learning to, wait a second, what about drug markets? What about overdose from contamination? What about crime from these illicit markets? and realizing there is so much more to this story than this simple story that we have been told about drugs.